We start the main part of the sowing, especially as spring approaches and even when spring is well underway. It's March, and this is really when the season is starting up again. We're going to sow vegetables that can withstand slightly cool temperatures. So, here we're going to directly sow radishes, onions, and scallions. Vegetables need a lot of heat and water. For germination to go well, there needs to be at least 14, 15, or even 16 degrees. The further we go in time, the more attention and monitoring we need to have on the garden. A greenhouse when there's a good amount of sunshine, and so we're still at the beginning of the season. I'm not going to turn on the automatic watering just yet. For sowing, for example, radishes, which have a very weak root system, it can be detrimental to the radish. The substrate can be too dry. The different steps to prepare a planting bed. That's the jargon for saying a small plot of cultivation, but we're talking about a permanent bed. That means these are beds that always stay in the same place. So first we weed with this type of tool, or a market gardener's hoe. In no time we can weed a 10 square meter bed. That area there, 10 square meters, we do it in 5 minutes. Once we've done that, we put the strings in place to clearly define the planting bed. Our planting beds are 80 cm wide. Why? Because when I'm squatting, that's 40 cm. So on each side, I can reach the center of my bed, and all the tools are designed for 80 cm. The hand cultivator, the rake, the common salmon all measure 40 cm. The weeding forks are 40 cm too. So I can do 40x2. Once we've weeded the bed and set the strings, we're going to loosen the soil. Because to have good vegetables, you need good soil. To have good soil, it needs to be aerated, so that water and air can circulate, allowing the life in the soil to thrive. And so for that, we use our own tractor. It's the hand cultivator, which is basically an improved version of a grelinette. Once we've done this work of loosening the soil, we're going to create what we call the seed bed. We're going to refine the planting bed to remove the large clumps, because those large clumps will interfere with the seed drill's passage. We refine with different rakes. So we have a first classic rake that's 40 cm wide, and then we have a rake that measures 80 cm, which helps to remove the clumps that will obstruct the seed drill's passage. Once we've done that, we added some compost and we have a nice seed bed. Then we're going to use the seed drill. So in this case, I use the Coleman seed drill is a pull type drill that works on 40 cm. So on an 80 cm bed. I can make 12 rows. So this mid row outside, we're going to plant carrots, the spring onions on the side, and then the carrots in the middle. That one was mulched. First we remove the mulch. We mulch in the winter to protect the soil. And then we remove the straw when spring arrives so that the soil warms up more quickly. Here we go, it's all sown. We're going to protect them with a winter cover. And even there's a bed that we're going to protect with our cold frames that we had made from recycled windows. The benefit of the cold frames I have, or even the tunnels, is to gain a few weeks, to create a microclimate that allows us to gain a few degrees, which are essential for plant growth. And here we've done a false sowing. We're preparing the bed as if we were going to sow, but we're not actually sowing anything. And actually we let the weeds grow. And once we see the weeds growing, we go back to where we had sown. And that helps to reduce the weeding work that will need to be done later. And then we're going to sow our leeks. The leeks are growing under the greenhouse, and we're going to transplant them in 3 weeks to a month. So we have a leek carrot association. It's a good association. The smell of one repels the pests of the other. We put them on 2 separate beds and not together. This will make our weeding work easier later on with the market gardening hoe and the tools that we will attach to the market gardening hoe. Last year we put everything on the same bed. It was complicated for us to use the market gardening hoe. The mistake I made last year was probably overcrowding my planting bed with different vegetables. So there it was, carrots, leeks, and spring onions. So here we do it differently. We put the carrots on one side with the spring onions and leeks on the other, and that's it. It's very important to have good tools when doing manual market gardening, diversified in organic farming, and indeed, for example, the market hoe. I didn't get it right away, so we waste a lot of time weeding, and it's important to take care of them, to protect them well in winter, and to clean them. I've struggled a bit too, sometimes to really master it, and I admit that I still don't have a good handle on it. With the seed drill, there are certain seeds that should be planted less densely than others. And sometimes I've overcrowded a bit too much. The vegetables get in each other's way. Especially as we move further into the season, the more overwhelmed we are with work. And so we have a bit less time to dive into the technical sheets. But overall, I have very simple tools that do the job really well.